driving. And if this follows my trusty assistant here, Kat, say hi, Kat.
Hi.
Hi. She'll help keep it from falling. So if it falls, blame her. We'll talk about breath awareness and communication, consciousness, all that stuff. What did I title this? I forgot.
Brett Biohack.
Biohack.
Breathing.
Biohack, breathing, awareness, communication, blah, blah, blah. All these tags. So it was amazing in yoga the other day when I talked about, this is why I need a little phone mount or something. Yeah, I mean, it would be better if I unplugged it, but then the map would turn off. So I wonder if there's a place I can put it.
What if it's sideways?
Then it looks weird.
Oh.
Yeah, on the video. Yeah, that kind of falls with it. Okay, maybe.
Can't plug my phone in for the map.
Yeah. Well, this is the wrong plug for that. So maybe I'll go on my polar bear senses.
Yeah.
Yeah, polar bear senses. Okay. So I put pop it. You can just hold it and like tell me.
Perfect.
You know, yeah. I'm teaching yoga online twice a week now, and something I was saying the other day about like when you let go of clinching, you'll see like a image fly away in your head.
Yes.
And I was like, it's really cool because I've never said it like that, but that's what it is for me. Even in my TM. Now this morning I didn't do TM. I did 20 minutes of vinyasa and then a deep shavasana. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Good yoga practice, it has a very similar effect
Yeah.
to TM. And so just noticing like my thinking, it's like grabbing my body. Like the images are grabbing my body. Muscles, they're gripping because I'm thinking of something. And pushing the breath through me pushes the thoughts around, but maybe lets it go. Letting go of clenching lets it go. Sometimes if my ego's getting in the way, then I don't know that I fully overcome mental obstacles or whatever just by breathing through it, but I loosen up my consciousness enough to move, kind of like the puppy has like loose skin and it can move around in its skin. So I'm just trying to like loosen up so I can move around in my mind a little bit, because I get too fixated. And just at 37 years old, I know that those kind of frozen and tight feelings that I have about it are going to change.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not permanent. I'm making a big deal about my feelings. And in that state of mind, sometimes I can't admit it, but pretty much every other state of mind, like, so the other 95% of the time, I could easily admit that, man, my feelings are going to change. I'm not going to have this. When I'm in the middle of it, it's hard to like acknowledge that. Sometimes I'm getting better at it, where it's just, in fact, at this, yeah. And honestly, I think at this point, I do solidly acknowledge, even when I'm in the middle of some negative mood or some demons attached to me, or I'm triggered in some way, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That even in that, I recognize like this is going to change. That's
so dope. Yeah.
And just quit making big decisions.
Yes.
You think it's easy, or you think it's easier because I live with all these guys and I'm always around these people and I always have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
What you don't understand is when you have that mood or that demon and you can't shake it, you still have to be around the guys and do sales and interact. It's easier when you're alone to just go and hibernate away. Yeah, ride it out for 3 days until it's gone or whatever.
Wow.
And
sometimes I just think you don't get demons. Sometimes I just think that you are always perfect.
Whether I got a demon or not, does that make me imperfect? Well, I guess it does. I guess it's a character flaw. It's a vulnerability and a weakness. And it doesn't like...
It makes you stronger to hear you say that, because it's just like...
It makes me stronger?
Yeah.
How does it make me stronger?
Because you always seem so strong that, even if you're going through something, that you're still like very strong on the outside.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think you might measure it like that because you see how much strength you would need to be able to do that if
Yeah.
you were going through something internally.
Yeah.
And I don't see it that way because
What do you see it as?
I can see why it would be called strength. I think it's
Resilience, maybe even. No.
it's a kind of fortitude, or it's a focus on what's right. It's a it might be similar to like how people would think about a handstand.
Yeah.
And it's like you see someone do a handstand and you're like, that takes so much strength.
Yeah, but the person can make it look easy too.
And to the person, it might be easy. It might not take that much strength for the person because of how their bones are aligned and their balance. And you know, you're measuring it takes so much strength because you're measuring how much strength it would take you to do it, given your experience of doing a handstand. To an experienced handstander, which isn't me right now, but let's say I've at least touched upon the experience by training handstands a lot for an amateur or a semi-pro, whatever. I was teaching yoga in it. That I had glimpses of a certain body alignment, mobility in my shoulders, you know, openness in my chest, like a certain flexibility and whatever, that it's almost like my arms would just go in place. Like it was effortless to do the handstand. I could just like kind of put my hands on the ground, kick my legs up, and I would go right to a perfect handstand because the shoulders and everything had been already worked like clay to fit perfectly how they needed to be for the handstand. And then someone would look at me and be like, it takes so much strength. And you might even look at my muscles and be like, well, obviously look at your triceps. Like it takes strength. Yes, you're right. Because I went through all the training to get good at handstands, obviously I built muscles. It took effort and everything. But now for me to do a handstand, it takes very little strength. And what I would say is, even if I'm injured, or if I have a tummy ache, or if I have some other distraction that would make the handstand more difficult, it doesn't mean that I need more strength to do the handstand. What it means is I need more focus. I need to remember what's the right thing here. Not do extra movements. Not get distracted by the discomfort. Are you having trouble here?
I'm hot. Thank you.
Don't try to do extra things, and you know, understanding that you're going to get distracted by your tummy. If you get distracted by your tummy while you're in a handstand, you just lose balance.
Or even if your mind's talking about something else.
That's true. Like if I'm distracted, if I'm emotionally,
Yeah.
let's say if I'm all emotional thinking about something while I'm trying to do a handstand, that's going to be hard to balance.
Yeah.
So,
like, well, what about if like all of it, you're having good thoughts, and all of a sudden a bad as you're doing the handstand, a bad thought flashes in your head, and then
hold on, make sure this is closed.
Like, for example, I was even just going to use the example of, like, putting on my eyeliner or my eyelash, or similar to, like, while I'm going up in a forearm stand. And all of a sudden, my mind has some sideways thought about, I don't know, like another girl or something. And it just shocks you. What do you do?
It shocks me?
Not you, me, the person who it's happening for. Like, you know, I'm just having a peaceful old time doing my yoga or my glam. And while I'm in the middle of a precarious move, like putting on the tip of my eyeliner, a bad thought just flashes right in that second, and I mess up.
And so what's your question?
My question is, how do you like prevent it when it's happening in the middle of the precarious moment? Like if you're in a handstand and you get a flash image.
Yeah, it's less about preventing it, because the more you try to prevent negative things, this is just, you know, Michael Singer's stuff is yoga. It's a kind of yoga, and it benefits your yoga. You know, I could meet a lot of people that do lots of stretching and holding their breath and even meditating, whatever they call meditation. And they still, I mean, meditation maybe, but again, that word gets thrown around that people, they're not meaning the same thing I'm meaning when I say meditation. They think they know what meditation is. So there's a lot of people that do the yoga, the meditation, the breathing, but they don't have any better command or control of their talking, their self-talk. They might convince themselves or others that they do, and if you looked at their lifestyle, they've destimulated their life where they're not engaged a lot with the world, they're not doing a lot of communicating, they're isolated, and so they're not being triggered as much. So they would think that they're having less self-talk like that. But put them in any kind of situation.
Interesting. I see.
Yeah. They're closing themselves off from the world so they don't get triggered like that.
Right. It doesn't mean they have less triggers inside.
Right. They haven't evolved or developed. That's the whole yogi going to the mountain cave.
Right.
And finding. Now they could still do it in the mountain cave. There's a right way to practice where in isolation you can still handle your triggers. But that's as disturbing as it would be for a mountain yogi to come to the city and like be involved in life, it would be so tumultuous for him to learn all that stuff as an adult. It would be similarly impossible for a city person to go to the mountain and do yoga and not go crazy. Because you have so many impressions in the mind that they don't have, and vice versa. They don't have the impressions that make them function here. So they'd have to still be isolated like a cave dweller in the city. They'd have to have their ashram tucked away in a high room, like doing their yoga, just coming out to lecture and whatever. Wow. You know, so they'd still have to do that. So, you know, understanding your mind kicks up weird thoughts, you know, the way that your mind has memorized language and all of the stimulations of the mind. Who knows? Sometimes you can even just trigger yourself with just, you say this thing to yourself that's harmless, and that triggers this other thought that's like,
totally.
You know, so
I noticed that in myself, and I actually actively sometimes have to stop and say out loud the opposite of what my soul feels, because I'll start feeling angry because my mind said something that I don't even agree with.
Right. So it's about being non-reactive, similar to like you're leading the dog. The dog starts misbehaving, can't get the dog. Getting mad at the dog will never ever help you train the dog.
Yeah.
You might yell or something or jerk her forcefully, and then she seemingly obeys, but it doesn't make a more behaved dog.
Right.
You're going to have future karma to pay for that when the dog misbehaves or doesn't listen to you because it rebels, because you didn't train it right. So it's similar to the mind. You get mad at the mind. Don't get mad that it doesn't. That's the demon. That's the negative energy. So.
But I mean, I also get mad at whatever the thought was. Like, you know, it'll just say, like, just for a stupid example, like, you know, it'll just say something that I don't care about. Like,
I get it. It's a vulnerable thing. You don't have to share it.
Yeah.
But again, getting mad at anything does not help you handle it.
Right.
It is madness, literally insanity.
But I'm saying, like let's say the second before I become aware of my mind had this thought is making me angry. I'm not mad at the mind. I become aware of that, like, oh my goodness, this thought that I don't even agree with is changing me inside. Because
you're reacting to it. Similar to the dog misbehaves, and it's changing you inside. You're getting mad at it.
Yeah.
So an idea, which is an entity in a higher plane, the idea, you're getting mad at it.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like you were asking originally a few minutes ago, when I'm in a handstand and I have a negative thought, what I do is I focus on what's right. The more I focus on trying to prevent the thought or get rid of the thought, that is putting my focus on the thought.
Wow.
And it persists.
What would be right? What would be right in that
Let's say
moment?
if I was in a handstand, focus on the features of the handstand. Okay, where's the weight distribution on my hand? How's my serratus activated? Is my tummy tucked? Like all the things, and point the toes, reach through the legs. Like those are points of focus that it's kind of like if you're at the dentist and you don't have Novocaine, or somehow they're let's say you're getting a wax job for your hair or whatever. Don't focus on where they're about to pull. That's to make it hurt more. Focus somewhere else. Sorry.
It's okay.
So, they're doing tooth surgery. Focus somewhere else. Focus 6 inches to the left.
That's our exit.
Yeah. So focusing
Wow.
trying to prevent it, resist it, whatever. You're involving yourself with it. That's like somebody's
Wow.
arguing with you and you're getting involved with the argument with them to resolve the argument.
Yeah.
Arguments don't resolve by arguing.
Right.
They resolve by stepping out of the argument, not necessarily walking away, but
Right.
that helps out also.
Sure.
But like if someone's getting mad or insane with me, the more sanely and rationally I talk with them, the more that pulls them out of it.
That is the truth. I did see that happen firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I talked about it on my podcast, which is just that, you know, or like, I think my friend asked me, and she was like, well, you went crazy like that. And like, how can he even be with you? Like, why, you know? And I was like, honestly, like in that moment, like he just saw that I wasn't okay. And he just saw me as a human and just started talking to me as like a teacher that sees a human suffering.
And I would add
it
to
brought
that.
me back to my body.
Yes, and I would add to that yes, I had tremendous care.
Yeah.
I saw this person suffering.
Yeah.
But I see that homeless person suffering.
Yeah.
Why am I not going and talking to them?
Well, because obviously, we're like, you love me.
That's not what it was. I have accepted some responsibility over this woman.
Yeah.
That I know from experience that if it ends this way, I'm not happy with how I've conducted myself.
Yeah.
And so this would be you. So you'd be like, so he started talking to me in a way that I started responding in a feminine, submissive way, even though I was so upset. And that he started responding more. The way he talked to me in a way that showed he understood what was happening.
Yeah.
And he conveyed with a lot of aggressive certainty that this is not, he painted a picture for me how this is going to be. Separated, code red, can't come over,
but
taking the car.
That wasn't the part. That
okay,
brought
so
me
what
back.
was it? What was it?
It was like when
back?
we were on the street. Like that was the part that was making me freak out.
Was it just that we were on? Well, what brought you back?
What brought me back was when you were like when you were like just asking me to calm down and communicate, and you were like, you're not communicating, you're not communicating, you're not communicating.
And that was very rational.
Yeah.
Very sane. And I probably was not saying it nicely.
Yeah.
Was I saying it nicely?
Well, you were saying it like calmly, like
I was
because at
calm,
first you
for
were
sure.
saying all those other things like code red, and you sounded mean, and I was just getting even more volcano. But then all of a sudden, like I felt in your voice shifted, where you were like, you wanted me to just get it right. Like I felt that you believed that I could, and so you were like, you're not communicating right now, and I'm gonna keep leaving if you can't get your words to communicate.
Right. I remember now. Yeah, I was like, the way you're talking to me is not going to resolve this. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
That was rational. It wasn't nice. It'd be similar to like seeing a meth addict and they're going to get meth, and it's like, you can get that, but it's going the wrong way, and I'm not going to involve myself with you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like telling it straight. I'm not nice about it or whatever.
Yeah.
So, that was, again, I did not handle your disagreement. I didn't go into your argument. I didn't go into whatever you had some grievances with me. I didn't even address those.
No.
I stayed on what was right. You're not talking to me in a way that's going to resolve this.
Right.
I will be leaving and walking away. If you don't want me to walk away, change how you're talking to me so I can receive it, talk properly to me, and I'll talk with you.
Yeah.
Rational.
Yeah.
And so now you're in this position, that's where it's a proper female dynamic, where you survive better with me in your life. And even though you may be upset or angry or something, we get blind to that when we don't see what's good for us when we're angry. That's why we make bad decisions.
Yeah.
But that the other 95 or 99% of the time when you're not angry, and you know that you survive better with me in your life.
Yeah.
In so many ways, not even just like financially and all that, but just your state of mind, which is really where survival exists.
Well, yeah. Well, because it's somewhere in that point that I realized that I'm only acting that way because I didn't want you to leave, because I didn't want to break. It was like the exact opposite of what was happening.
Right.
But I didn't know how to like calm down, but somewhere in that.
Right. So that's it. So that's what you wanted. That's what I said. I put words on what you wanted.
Yeah.
So in the handstand, I'm having a negative thought. I put the words on what I want. Balance, straight arm, push. this way, that way. I'm not thinking, oh, she said this, or mom or dad, or money, or whatever.
Right, exactly.
All those thoughts. You know, I don't go into trying to fix my money problems while I'm balancing in a handstand.
Right, exactly.
You know, so I don't go into trying to handle your grievance about, you know, post your picture on that or this or that when you're talking to me wrong.
Yeah.
You talk to me right, and then I'll talk about the situation. But the tonality of how we're talking is going to create more aggression, even if we're talking on the topic that we want to be talking about. Yeah. Because the tonalities and the emotions are really going to fuck up this conversation.
Yeah. And that's what, you know, I've noticed, like, I have a flash thought, and I just act on, like, this morning when I texted you, like, all kind of, it was like, I was just doing nothing, minding my own business, feeling so much love, and then I saw that, and it was so instant, and then you talking me through it, I just realized, oh my gosh, I just reacted on this insecurity. I didn't even see it quick enough that wasn't actually a negative thought. That all came from the negative thought. Well, that's the name of the game then.
Yeah, it's being sensitive to that. That's where the proper yoga and meditation and breathing practices. And it's not about making yourself feel good, although that is the proper byproduct or result of good practice. It's about making yourself aware of how are you feeling. That's a much better result. If your yoga and meditation and breathing practice results in you becoming more aware of how you feel at all times, that's a much better result than yoga and meditation practice making you feel good.
Yeah.
Because that means it becomes like medicine, that you can always make yourself feel good if you have time to do yoga meditation, but then what do you do if you don't have time? What do you do if you don't have space or privacy or whatever?
Or like when you're at work.
That's when you don't have time, right? So better to have the skill of acknowledging how you feel internally, not just to the outside. Just, in fact, not even the outside. What's your
favorite way to acknowledge internally how you feel without picking on yourself?
It's the same way as acknowledging anything. Like how does your dog look? Does it look tired? Does it look happy? Does it look healthy? Does it look sickly, skinny? Like, it's just acknowledging the reality of what it is without going into all these judgments and solutions and whatever. It's just see it for what it is.
I do go into judgments and solutions a lot.
Yeah, you know, and so it's just the difference of observing the state of something versus getting involved in it. It's not wrong to get involved in things, but if I'm just talking about when it comes to like emotions and awareness of emotions, you must just be able to acknowledge, does this feel down or up? That's the basic like dichotomy. Is it positive or negative? Then you can go into all the shades and colors and nuances of gleeful, joyful, cheerful, blissful. Like that's all same colors.
Those are beautiful words.
Those are, but they're all slightly different. They're red.
Right.
Or, you know, just color, black and white color. That's the dichotomy. Negative or positive. Like, start there. Is it a positive feeling or a negative feeling?
Yeah.
And, you know, just noticing that. And then if you're communicating from a negative feeling, then you get into like all the nonviolent communication, which again is yoga, because it's uniting multiple minds and consciousness and energy fields to get on the same page. It's the language of how to do that. That's what Ninth Limb is all about, communication.
Yes.
And the language that unites.
Hell yeah.
First,
well, that's what I want to get good at. Language that unites.
Yeah.
Should be my new mantra.
Yeah, that would be a great mantra for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. I didn't see any of your comments if you commented on this live stream. So I know in the description there's yoga with me, comes with a little bit of philosophy, and then some really great stretching. Kat, tell them about it.
Tell them about the great stretching.
Tell them about the great yoga.
Oh my gosh, it just lets go of all of the joint pain and awakens the body to be able to perform optimally.
Yeah, and it's not your regular vinyasa yoga. There's 1,000 trillion videos on YouTube with vinyasa yoga from whoever yoga teacher.
I was just thinking this morning that your yoga from like 7-10 years ago in low quality video is better than like any of the yoga you can find out there.
Thanks to my teachers.
Yeah.
I had great teachers, and I studied them better than all of their other students. That's how it happened. Anything else?
Ninth Limb Yoga, Saturday and Sundays. Everyone should be there.
Yeah, online. That's what the link is. It's Saturday, Sunday yoga online on Zoom. Plus, you get all the recordings which is about 55 classes right now. It's about 30 minutes, 30-minute classes, 30 to 45-minute classes. Really good stuff. It's a membership, so, you know, when you unsubscribe, then you lose the videos, but while you're subscribed, you have all the videos. So it's probably worth a month to crash course in it. If you've been watching my channel or you like how I talk about the mind, because that's what it is. The yoga is to prepare you to live better. It's not just to make you more flexible.
And I'm gonna get it all up on Playbook soon.
Yeah, soon.
It'll be easy, accessible.
That's right. Okay, everybody. I'll see you on the next stream. Jai Guru Dev. Praise the Lord.